Inverse functions. Your directions are going to say, determine whether the function is one-to-one. If it is, find its inverse. In a previous video, I explained to you how to determine if something was one-to-one. So if the function is not one-to-one, you will simply say, not one-to-one, and you won't have to do anything else. If it is one-to-one, what you will do is you will take the function, and here's the function we can use. Here's an example of one. After you've determined whether or not the function is one-to-one, you will then switch the x and y's, and remember that f of x is really y. F of x, g of x, h of x, anything like that. Then you will switch the x's and y's, and then you will use your algebra skills to get y by itself. So your final answer in function notation is an f with a little -1 on it, and then whatever you got when you got y by itself. And that would be your answer to one that's like that. Now probably what's going to happen is you're going to get tripped up in a little bit of the algebra. So I'll go over a few basics with you, but for the most part you're just going to have to rely on your previous algebra skills. So if you get hung up on some of these, make sure that you're going to academic support. Here's another example. Let's say we had f of x equals x cubed. Now when I put this one in my calculator and I graph it, I can see that it's one-to-one. So I'm going to switch the x and y. Remember, f of x is y, so I'm going to make it an x. Then I'm going to work on getting y by itself. One of the things you may have forgotten is that if you have a cube and you're trying to get rid of a cube, you need to take the cube root. And remember, in algebra, if you do something to one side, you must do it to the other side. If you cube a cube root, it will just come out of the radical. So my final answer would be, in function notation, the cube root of x. An easy way to check this would be to take your calculator and put the original function in like you're graphing for y1. For y2, put the one that you think is its inverse, and then look at the table. When you look at the table, since you have two functions in there, you're going to see something that looks like this. Let's say, for instance, you had on one of the graphs x is 4 and y1 is 2. If you go down and you look for the 2 on the x value, on the other graph, which is represented by y2 on the table, you would find a 4. They would be flip-flopped. So that's a great way to check yourself on these. Let's look at another example. Let's suppose you had f of x equals x plus 2 over x plus 4. I've looked in my calculator. I know they're one-to-one. Remember that pretty much all you have to worry about is if any of the exponents are even, it's not going to be one-to-one. These exponents are not even, so chances are really good that it's going to be one-to-one. I'm going to switch my x and my y's. Now this would be another one that you might get tripped up in the algebra. I've got to work on getting this y by itself, so I need to get rid of these fractions. I'm going to multiply both sides by the common denominator to get rid of the fraction. On this side it goes away. On this side you have xy plus 4x. Now I'm trying to get y by itself, so I'm going to put these y's together. Remember, in algebra, if you move something across the equal sign, it changes its sign. I still have two separate y's and they need to be together. I can't put them together because they have different variables on them. Remember, you can only add like terms. Let's erase this over here and bring our function up here so we can look at it. Now, your only option here, in order to get a single y out of this, would be to factor this side. You're going to have to make sure that you're good on your factoring in order to proceed in this class. So pull out a y. When I pull out a y, I have an x and a 1 left. If I want to get this y by itself, I simply need to divide both sides by x minus 1. Y is now by itself. And in function notation, this would be my answer. Again, you can put it both the original and the new one in your calculator and look at the table. All the ordered pairs should be flip-flopped. Just remember, when you put things like this in your calculator, make sure that the top and the bottom get a set of parentheses around them.